Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop, howdy. Well, what do you think of that? What can I possibly make out of that? This is a Japanese Maple Burl. It's the oddest shape I've ever seen, I think. It's probably going to be the toughest turning that I do, if I can even do it. And I totally have my doubts if that's possible. But, you know, it's a nice piece of wood. A nice looking piece of wood, let's put it that way. It's a very odd shape. The piece is on one side about 6 1/4 inches, about 5 1/2 inches on the other side. It's about 6 1/4 inches tall. This piece comes to us from Dave at Calmwood Creations. The only preparation I've done to this piece is I laid it down on my bandsaw table and I cut this end and this end so that they are parallel. You can see here that I found center on the bottom, what I want to use as a center. And you can see that I've drawn out for a tenon. I want to keep as much of this naturalness as I can. I will lose some, no doubt about it. This side here is much longer than the other side. It's going to be a challenge. Let me show you over here on the lathe how I intend to hold this. This is just a piece of plywood that I grabbed off the shelf over here. Nothing special about it. It's a 3/4 inch, or what they call 3/4 inch. It's mounted up on a woodworm screw. I have a spacer. You can just barely see the spacer right here and maybe over here. And the reason I did that is because my woodworm screw projects 3/4 of an inch and I didn't want to come through here. So I've got a 1/4 inch spacer on there. So the woodworm screw goes into this plywood a 1/2 inch. And then you can see this weird drawing. I had this mounted up already. So this goes like that. Now the hardest part about this is because this end is so small and this end is so big, it's hard to get this flush against that plywood. You know, it wants to be cocked to one side or another. When I had it in place and I had my live center up here, I had to tap it with a little hammer to get it flat and then apply a little pressure, that sort of thing. So it's kind of a pain, and this just might not work at all. What I'm going to do is use this double-sided Turner's tape, and it looks like it'll just take one strip of it and I'll get most of that. Now I don't intend that this is going to hold the piece with no tailstock support. It's just going to serve as a grip to drive the piece so that I can do some turning on it. So rather than fumble with trying to peel this off of here on camera and cutting it and all that, well, maybe I can. I was just going to do this off camera, but maybe I can do it on camera, and I'll have to get a knife to cut it with. Yeah, it's just awkward. I'll bring you back in a minute. Boy, the more I look at my setup here, the more I think I'm nuts to even try this. The center here, the live center, the other end of that is here. That's where my woodworm screw is screwed in, is on the other side of that dot out here. So there's no direct pressure. There's nothing there. And I've got you sitting where you are so that you can see that I have a tool rest set up so that it's about an equal distance all the way along here. It does hit this part, this long part first. So I have to actually move my tool rest back before I get started here. And that'll be the first to go. And then the next to go will be this from the short side. But that distance right there equals this distance right here. So as soon as I start cutting that away, I'll start rounding up this back corner. And that's my goal, is to round up that back corner. And I don't want to go past this. I may never even get to that. I don't know yet. This is all just by guess and by golly. I don't have a clue of what I'm doing, and I probably shouldn't even be doing it. But doing it I will, because I told you I would. Let me get this back here a little bit. Make sure it still clears my plywood. It doesn't. Move that over just a smidgen. I said a smidgen. I haven't spun this up yet. I have no idea what kind of speed we can get. It's going to really be out of balance. And you can also see that I ran a bead of hot glue down these two sides just to help hold it. Again, this is not going to be holding this without tailstock support. So I'm going to, well, let's see what kind of speed we can get. You ready? Might go flying all together. I'm going to step off to the side here. About 490 RPM. 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. I'm gonna go sharpen up. Well, you know, it's actually kind of working. Got a full round here. Just this much to go. You're wondering what kind of vase is that going to be? Well, I have an idea. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's an idea. I'm also losing most of my glue. It's all gone except for this little corner right here and that right there. I still have the tape, and of course I have pressure, but again that pressure is here to this dot, not to the top of the wood. That's the glue hitting. Wow, I didn't ever think we'd get this far. We almost got it. Okay, that's pretty good. Might not look pretty good. I'm going to take this square point scraper and come in here and clean this up. Maybe I'll use it all the way along there, I don't know. I need to keep my fingers back behind this. I could, I don't know, cut those corners off, I guess. But we're just about done, just about there. Well, except for sanding. I'm going to try it. Well, I got what I wanted to get up here. I'm going to try and make one final cut with my gouge. Let me get set up for the tenon. Okay, I am below the rim, or the base. And I just raised my tool rest so that I can use a different tool. I'm going to use this diamond point tool to straighten up the sides of the tenon. And that's good. This might not be a vase. I've got another idea that might look better. I still have the idea for the vase. I'll tell you which one I decide to go with and why and how and all that. Interesting piece. I can't believe we got this far. I'm just not happy with my raggedy finish out here. I feel like I could sand it away, but it'll be a lot of work. So I'm going to take this 1/2 inch swept back bowl gouge and see if I can't shear scrape this a little better. I wish I could pick the speed up, but I just can't. I might bump you. You're right by my shoulder here. Okay, time for sanding. Well, I decided I'm going to save the sanding for once I flip it around. So I'm going to release the pressure here. I'm anxious to see how much hold that actually has. Not much. Not much. So let's get this off of here. And we'll get the tenon mounted up. Boy, I bet I can spin that up real good now. Yeah. Yippee. Well, I'm not sure what kind of turning I could do. I guess I couldn't really do much turning because I'm not sticking my finger in there. You wouldn't either, would you? So, I'll see you tomorrow. Now, obviously, because I'm going with 2 1/8, I am going to lose some of this. I'm going to lose part of this knob and part of that knob and maybe part of this and certainly this because we're going down to here. So we're gonna lose right down the middle there, but there should still be plenty on both sides and along the bottom. So with the lathe spinning forward at 320 RPM, I'm just gonna go real slow and easy. I'm done drilling. Time for sanding. I'm going to start the sanding with my Sandoflex. I'm going to sand all of the unturned parts, and I'll do what I can along these edges of the drilled hole and down here in the bottom, that sort of thing. So I'll show you what that's going to look like. Then I'm going to spin the lathe in reverse kind of fast, faster than normal, about 450, because I'm only sanding half of this. It's only half there. And that's why a faster speed, so that the sanding disc doesn't fall into the open space as it comes around. So let me get my mask on, I'll show you all that. And I'm just going to have to come at that from all angles, every place I can possibly reach. And then the sanding disc. I hope that works because it sure needs sanding, no doubt about it. So I'll be doing this for a couple hours, I imagine. Probably a little hand sanding here and there. And I'll bring you back when it's time to put some finish on. I believe we're going with sanding, sealer, and shellac. See you in a bit. Well, that was problematic, but I got it done. And I'll tell you what, I'm amazed at how smooth and clean this is back here. This is the back side. As far as I can tell, no tool marks, no torn grain, smooth as can be. I actually sanded only the outside up to 1500 grit. The rest of it sanded to 400. This inside required all hand sanding. I couldn't get anything in here to work it. Just like I can't get anything in here to finish it. I guess I'll have to use a little brush. So this is shellac-based sanding sealer. It's Zinsser brand seal coat is what it's called. And it's not that easy to find anymore. You pretty much have to buy it online. I can't find it at any retailer. They all used to carry it, and now none of them around here do. Home Depot, Lowe's, paint stores, none of them have it locally. Of course, I didn't finish the bottom, so that'll have to be done off the lathe. And I have figured out a way to get that tenon off of there, so that won't be much of an issue. I just can't wait for you to see this piece, but you're not going to yet. Just the back of it. I suppose you'll get a little glimpse here and there. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck, and now I'm slipping the piece over that. I don't know what to call this, so I'm just going to call it the piece. And bringing up my tailstock. I still have my center hole there for reference, so I'll just drive the live center into that ever so gently and wiggle the piece around, make sure it feels like it's centered, and it does. So I'll apply a little more pressure. I'll bring up the tool rest. Then we'll spin the piece up a little bit, see if it feels like it's centered. I'm just going to hold my thumbnail against the tenon, see if it's hitting equally all the way around. It actually does feel like it is. The lathe is going to be spinning at about 600. I'm going to take my 3/8 inch standard grind bowl gouge and begin to removing the tenon. It's getting pretty small, so I'm going to turn the speed down to about 400. Now I'm going to take a 3/8 inch swept back bowl gouge, and I think I'm going to raise my tool rest just a little bit and try and get in there a little bit closer so I have good support. I don't want to get under that tenon, that'll cause it to pop right out of there. We'll just keep working it away. Now I'm going to turn the speed down to about 200 RPM, and I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the piece. Right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch, pressure towards the headstock, and when the little nub stops turning, we'll know we're through. Kind of like that. Then I'll just take this over here to the workbench, sand it up, finish it, get it signed, and I'll be right back. Well, this piece just has so much going for it. First of all, it's the beautiful wood. Probably the most important part, huh? I mean, it's just beautiful. And second of all is my treatment of it. I'm really, really proud of this one. I don't always make the right decisions. Sometimes I'll turn a piece too far. But I think in this case, I did everything just right. To me, it's just perfect. You got two little feet down here. You've got a wraparound for whatever you want to put in here. And whatever you put in there can't fall out because of that wraparound. I maintained a lot of the naturalness, all the little bumps and points and whatnot. I got a great finish on here. It feels good, it looks good. And speaking of looks, I want to show you what it looks like with some of the different inserts I have for it. We'll start with the least attractive. If this was about 2 inches shorter, I think it would look terrific. But it's just too tall for the piece. But I think I can find something Same size, a couple inches shorter, probably look great. This looks better than I thought it would. It's a little overpowering, it's a little bit too big. It's an attractive piece of crystal, but it kind of overpowers the wood. Or maybe you like it. What do you think? I have these in 3 different heights. Little flickering candles. Those look surprisingly good. Better than I had ever imagined. That's the tallest one. I think it's, I haven't measured these, I think it's 4 inches tall. This one's 3 inches tall. That looks really good. The shortest one is 2 inches. That looks great. And the last is probably my favorite, probably what I'll go with. I like the metallic look of it. And that'll have a little votive candle in there all lit up, looking good. So be sure you put in the comments which one is your favorite. I'd be interested to know. These are just surprisingly cool, huh? For whatever it was, pretty cheap. Let me know. There's the bottom all finished up. I wrote my name and Japanese Maple Burl on there. Gotta love this darker color. Really adds something. I just think it's a terrific piece. Maybe my new favorite piece. I just really like it. So much going on there. Thank you, Dave from Calmwood Creations, for sending this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos, about 1 a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome and I read all of them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.